Today on Hands-On Photography, we're back in the lab, the home studio, and we're going to talk about some low-key lighting. Stay tuned. Hands-On Photography is brought to you from LastPass Studios. Using the same password everywhere is a security nightmare waiting to happen. LastPass puts you in control of your online life by storing all of your unique passwords in a secure encrypted vault. Visit lastpass.com/twit.
This is TWiT.
This episode of Hands-On Photography is brought to you by Peak Design. They've just launched their 10th campaign on Kickstarter, Mobile by Peak Design. To learn more, go to peakdesign.com/twit. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Pruitt, and this is Hands-On Photography here on TWiT TV. This is the podcast I like to sit down and share with you different tips and tricks that are going to help you be a better photographer as well as a better post-processor. Today, we're going to look more on the photography side of things. I know how much y'all love diving in and picking up cameras and just going through all the settings and getting real geeky and technical with all of this. So if this is your first time catching the podcast, let me say welcome to you. Now, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and hit subscribe in whatever podcast app that you're listening to us on or watching us on, perhaps. Or, heck, just head on over to our website, twit.tv/hop. That's twit.tv/HOP. And you'll see all of our subscription options there, including our YouTube channel. We're available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google's podcast app, whatever it's called. But yeah, subscribe there, leave us a star rating, leave us a comment so it'll all push us up in the search results so people can join our Hands-On Photography community. I appreciate you doing that, and I also appreciate you all just sharing out the show too to help grow the community. All right, but thank you for all of the continued support. So let's go ahead and get started with this week's episode. Now, back on episode 54, 54, we did a bit of a photography lab, and it was based on high-key lighting. This week, we're going to talk about low-key lighting. Quite frankly, it is the exact inverse of each other. One is high, one is low, not necessarily in position, but what it means is just the value and the quality of light on the scene when we go ahead and line up our frame and our shot. So with low-key lighting, the focus is dealing more so with a bit more shadows and dark black backgrounds. Typically, it's a dark black background, and you use the shadows to sort of help make the mood of the scene. And if you're dealing with a portraiture, with a model or person in particular, you want to use those shadows to your advantage to help, create the mood and just sort of help accentuate the model's features on their face, whether it's nice cheekbones and lips and chins and all that good stuff. So it's fun to play around with it and actually take control of your scene as far as the lighting goes. Now, with this setup, I said the last time that doing high-key lighting versus low-key lighting, I think the high-key is a little bit more challenging to do. It's not that it's not doable or anything, but I think it's a little bit harder because there's a couple of different elements involved. You have to figure out how to get a white background and things like that. Well, you don't have to worry about your background in low-key lighting. As a matter of fact, if you look behind me, there's no backdrop or anything. This is literally just here in one of our sitting rooms in the home, and I'm not hiding the walls or anything because when we finish shooting this, you're not going to see any of that. As a matter of fact, after post-processing, you definitely won't see any of the background. The lighting is going to be all about our model. It's a low-key setup. That key light is going to only reflect onto the subject at hand and not worry about anything else in the scene. But before we get into setting up the lab, I want to take a few minutes to thank this week's fine sponsor, the folks at Peak Design. This episode of Hands-On Photography is brought to you by Peak Design. Peak Design just launched their 10th campaign on Kickstarter, Mobile by Peak Design, an ecosystem of cases, mounts, and accessories that make your phone a better tool for everything you do. It even works with the new iPhone 12 MagSafe system. These accessories use SlimLink, which has been added to their new everyday phone case. When paired with your mobile device, it connects with accessories such as a wallet with a built-in kickstand, charging and non-charging mounts for your car dash, hard locking mounts for total security, a machined aluminum tripod, and so much more. To learn more about the Mobile by Peak Design campaign and all other amazing products, head to peakdesign.com/twit. Support Peak Design and visit peakdesign.com/twit. Okay, so now let's go ahead and dive into the lab this week, shooting low-key photography. And again, I am graced with her the omnipresence and whatever all of those big old adjectives are to describe someone that you love and care for. Wonderful model, Phoebe, in the house, showing up there on camera. All right, so we're gonna set up, and Kylo, you might wanna move, dude. I got work to do. So what we're gonna do is set up the low-key photography. I have my main key light right here, which is just a little inexpensive speed light powered by AA batteries. It's not super duper expensive, super duper powerful or anything like that, but it's powerful enough to get the job done. And of course I have a trigger here that's going to help me set up the power settings and things like that. And I'm using an inexpensive prime lens. I'm using my Canon 50mm 1.8 prime. Not terribly expensive, but you're going to get some good quality out of this thing. So now let me go ahead and figure out how I want to do this. Typically, I like to shoot at about 1/125th of a second for portraits because, quite frankly, it freezes the model just in case they decide to blink or decide to move or anything like that. So I want to try to keep it at that shutter speed. But just like with high key lighting, the rule of thumb is to start with a black frame, just totally black frame. That way, you know, all of the work that's going to be involved in this is going to come from this particular light, your key light, not any of the ambient light. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try to take a shot now and see if we get a black frame, and then we'll adjust the settings on the camera and go from there. All right, so let's switch over to Lightroom real quick, like so. And now, have my camera there. She's lined up. I'm gonna hit focus. And then we're gonna take the shot. Okay. And if we look on the screen, we have almost a black screen. So let's make some adjustments here. We have aperture set to f5.6, so let's go ahead and just push that up. We'll push it up to say f11. Lock the focus. Okay, so we do have a black screen here with our frame. That's exactly what we want because we want all of the control of the light to be handled right here with our speed light. So I'm going to fire up the speed light and get it ready to go. It's on. I'm gonna check my trigger here. Wireless trigger is on, and I have the power for the speed light set to 1/4 power. Now, granted, y'all are looking at this scene here and everything is lit up, but again, we set the camera to shoot everything pretty fast and give us a black frame. All right, so let's see. If we set this to 1/4 power, lock her in focus, and take a shot, what we're gonna get here. Didn't mean to shoot twice. And that looks pretty good there. Now, I still want to try to reduce the background just a little bit. Now, if I look at my speed light, I have a grid on this light modifier. Back on episode 44, I talked about the power of light modifiers and how it's going to help make your light softer and even control and shape the light. So what I did is I put a grid on the front of this modifier because I didn't want it to leak too much behind her. I want all of the light to really focus on her right here. So I'm going to try to turn it away from the background just a touch to get it off of that background. So let's see. We'll turn it away just a little bit. Okay. Right, so now we should pretty much just get what they call a feathering of the light from the modifier there. So let's try this one more time. I didn't change any camera settings. I'm gonna hit focus and we're gonna snap the shot. Yeah, see that's getting there. We still got a little bit of light coming on the left side of the frame here. That's fixable, but why not try to adjust it here with our camera settings? So I'm gonna take the ISO, knock it down from 400 to maybe, we'll try 200. We'll just try 200, okay? And then I'm gonna take the aperture and increase it from f11 to f16. Okay, so now let's lock focus and take the shot. See, that's a little too dark, just a little too dark. So we gotta find that happy median. I'm only gonna change the aperture. Let's take the aperture back to f11. Got it. So let's focus again, take the shot. There we go. That's getting a little bit better. I think I can work with that. I could probably play around with the shutter speed, but I'm only going to get so much latitude from here because I got some pretty light walls in here and they're trying to reflect light all around me considering everything else that's in here. But I think this is going to work. So let's do just a couple more just to have some fun. She's going to look straight up at that light for me. She's not going to look at the camera. We're going to snap there. Boom. And get one more looking up at that light. Boom, looks great. She's gonna look down at the lens and raise an eyebrow for me. Boom, looking good. And let's get one more like that. Let's go with that one. You don't know which one? You know what, I'm gonna take it off the tripod this time because I want to handheld it. So we're gonna take it off. All right, let's do that again. So look right at me. Good. Straight on one more time. Good. Look up at the light for me because we want that light to just shine and really wrap around your cheeks and stuff with those nice little shadows. And that's what we want. Cool. I think that looks pretty good. So we'll put this back here now and we're going to call it a day. All right. So that is a wrap, folks. We have done it. We have these nice images to work with. We will continue this discussion on our next episode where we walk into the wonderful world of Lightroom and Photoshop and do the post-processing to really make these images shine. We're going to talk a little bit about dodging and burning and just playing around with the shadows to really bring out the best parts of our model. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be fun. Thank you all again for your continued support. Thank you all for watching as usual. Thank you to my man, Mr. Victor. Shout out to the model behind me waving in the camera. Yeah, we see you. You can look over here at this camera this time. Such a ham. Make sure you folks are subscribed to the show and sharing out the show. And please safely continue to create and dominate. We'll catch you next time.
Want more TWiT? Well, check out Smart Tech Today. It's at twit.tv/STT. It's the show where Matthew Casanelli and I cover everything there is to know about smart tech. It's automation, it's connected devices, it's smart home, it's all those goodies and so much more. We get the news, we get the latest devices, we do reviews, everything. You gotta check it out, twit.tv/STT for Smart Tech Today.